You're working harder than your parents ever did. More hours, more stress, more education, and somehow you have less financial security than they had at your age. Your paycheck feels decent until you look at your rent, your student loans, your cost of living, and you realize that no matter how hard you work, you're not getting ahead. You're running faster just to stay in place. Here's what's really happening. You're on the wrong side of a divide that determines everything about your financial future, and most people never even realize this divide exists. Right now, there are 4 ways to make money in this world, 4 quadrants, and the brutal truth is that 2 of those quadrants keep you trapped, trading time for money with a ceiling on your income and 0 security. The other 2 quadrants build wealth, create freedom, and let money work for you instead of you working for money. Robert Kiyosaki calls this the Cashflow Quadrant, and understanding which quadrant you're in right now and which quadrant you need to move to is the difference between spending your life as a high-paid employee who's one layoff away from disaster and building the kind of wealth that creates generational freedom. Think about this. Someone making $60,000 a year is stressed about money. Someone making $200,000 a year is also stressed about money. Different numbers, same anxiety. Why? Because they're both in the same quadrant. They're both trading time for money. They both stop earning the moment they stop working, and no amount of income solves that fundamental problem.
Meanwhile, someone else is making $60,000 a year passively, from businesses they own, from investments that pay dividends, from systems that run whether they work or not. They have more freedom than the person making $200,000 because they're in a different quadrant. They've escaped the time for money trap. Welcome to Wealth Notes Lane. This channel is about thinking clearly in a noisy world, about money, business, and building a future that actually holds up over time. Today, we're breaking down the Cashflow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, and we're applying it to this year. Because this book doesn't just explain why you're stuck financially, it shows you exactly how to move from the quadrants that trap you to the quadrants that free you. And once you see this framework, you can't unsee it. Robert Kiyosaki published Cashflow Quadrant in 1998 as a follow-up to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. While Rich Dad, Poor Dad taught the difference between assets and liabilities, Cashflow Quadrant explains the 4 different ways people earn income and why some paths lead to wealth while others lead to a lifetime of work with nothing to show for it. The 4 quadrants are E, S, B, I. Everyone earns money from one or more of these quadrants, and the quadrant you're in determines not just how much you make, but how hard you work, how much time you have, how much security you have, and whether you're building wealth or just surviving. Here's the framework. Draw a cross, 4 quadrants. Top left is E for employee. Top right is S for self-employed. Bottom left is B for business owner. Bottom right is I for investor. The left side, E and S, is where you trade time for money. The right side, B and I, is where money works for you. Most people spend their entire lives on the left side, and that's why most people never build real wealth. Let's break down each quadrant and translate this directly into this year's reality with concrete examples.
The E quadrant, employee. This is where most people live. You work for someone else, you get a paycheck, you have a job. It feels secure because the money comes regularly, but here's the trap. Your income is directly tied to your time. You work 40 hours, you get paid for 40 hours. You want to make more money? Work more hours or get a raise. But there's a ceiling. Your boss controls your income. The company controls your security. And the moment you stop working, the money stops. This year, this quadrant is more dangerous than ever. Companies like Google, Meta, Amazon, and Microsoft laid off hundreds of thousands of employees over the past 2 years, not because those people weren't good at their jobs, because the companies decided they didn't need them anymore. AI tools can now do work that used to require entire teams. If you're a content writer, ChatGPT can generate articles. If you're a graphic designer, AI image tools can create designs. If you're a customer service rep, AI chatbots are handling queries 24/7. If you're in middle management coordinating work, AI and automation are making that role obsolete. The E quadrant is shrinking, and even the jobs that remain are less secure. No pension, no loyalty. Companies will drop you the moment it makes financial sense. You're a line item on a spreadsheet, and if AI can do your job cheaper, you're gone. Here's the other problem. Even high-paid employees are trapped. A software engineer at Google making $300,000 a year. Sounds incredible, right? But they're still trading time for money. They work 60-hour weeks, they're stressed, they're one reorganization away from being laid off. And despite that income, many of them are living paycheck to paycheck because they've inflated their lifestyle to match their income. The fundamental issue with the E quadrant is you have no control. You don't control your income, you don't control your security, you don't own anything. You're renting your skills to someone else, and they are capturing most of the value you create. Kiyosaki isn't saying being an employee is bad. He's saying if you stay in the E quadrant your entire life, you'll never build real wealth, because wealth comes from ownership, not wages.
The S quadrant, self-employed. This is where a lot of people go when they realize the employee quadrant isn't working. They become freelancers, consultants, and solo entrepreneurs. Doctors, lawyers, accountants, graphic designers, writers, coaches. You work for yourself. You're your own boss. This feels like freedom, and in some ways it is. You control your schedule, you choose your clients, you keep the profits. But here's the trap Kiyosaki identifies. You're still trading time for money. Actually, it's worse, because now if you don't work, you definitely don't get paid. There's no paycheck if you're sick, no income if you take vacation. The business is entirely dependent on you. Self-employed people often work more hours than employees and make less per hour when you actually calculate it. They're not just doing the work, they're doing the marketing, the sales, the administration, the accounting, everything. This year, the S quadrant is crowded and competitive. Platforms like Upwork and Fiverr have globalized freelancing. You're competing with people around the world willing to work for less. AI is also eating into this quadrant. Basic freelance work that used to pay well is now being automated. The fundamental problem with the S quadrant is that you haven't built a business, you've built a job, and you can't sell a job. If you're a consultant and all the value is your personal expertise, what happens when you want to retire? The income stops. You can't sell the business because you are the business. Kiyosaki uses the example of a dentist. A dentist might make $300,000 a year, great income, but they're working 50 hours a week. They can't take time off without losing income. They can't scale beyond their own capacity. And when they retire, the income stops. They've spent 40 years trading time for money at a high rate, but they haven't built wealth. Compare that to someone who owns a chain of dental practices. They're not doing dentistry, they've hired dentists, they've built systems. The business runs whether they're there or not. That's the B quadrant. That's the difference.
The B quadrant, business owners. This is the first quadrant on the right side. This is where real wealth starts to get built. Business owners don't trade time for money. They build systems that generate money. Kiyosaki defines a true business owner as someone who owns a system that works without them. You have employees, processes, infrastructure. The business generates income whether you're working or not. This year, this quadrant is more accessible than ever, but also requires different thinking. You don't need a factory or a huge team anymore. You can build a business with AI, automation, and small teams. Think about someone who builds a software as a service product. They create a tool once, customers pay monthly subscriptions. The software runs automatically. They might have a small team handling support and development, but the business generates revenue 24/7, whether the owner is working or sleeping. Or someone who builds an e-commerce brand. They find products, build a brand, set up systems for fulfillment and marketing. They hire people to handle operations. The business runs. They're working on strategy and growth, not in the day-to-day operations. Or someone who creates a content business. They build a YouTube channel or podcast with a team: editors, writers, researchers. The creator is the face, but the business has systems. Sponsors pay, courses sell. The business generates income systematically. The key difference from the S quadrant is leverage. In the B quadrant, you're not limited by your own time. You have other people's time, other people's skills, systems, and technology working for you. Amazon is a B quadrant business. Jeff Bezos built systems, millions of employees, automated warehouses, AI algorithms. The business generates billions whether Jeff is working or not. He's moved to other projects because the business doesn't depend on him personally. The challenge of the B quadrant is that building these systems is hard. It requires capital, risk, time, and skills most people don't have. You need to understand hiring, operations, marketing, finance, systems. But the payoff is you're building an asset, something that generates income and something you can eventually sell. This year, AI makes this quadrant more accessible. You can automate customer service with chatbots. You can automate marketing with AI tools. You can automate operations with software. A small team can do what used to require hundreds of people. But you still need to think like a business owner, not an employee or self-employed person. You need to work on the business, not in the business.
The I quadrant, investor. This is the ultimate quadrant. This is where money makes money. You're not working, your capital is working. You own assets that generate returns. Real estate investors who own rental properties generating cash flow. Stock investors who own businesses through shares that pay dividends and appreciate. Private equity investors who own portions of businesses. Venture capitalists who fund startups. Kiyosaki argues this is the quadrant with the most freedom and the most wealth because your income is completely decoupled from your time. You can make money while you sleep, while you travel, while you do nothing. Warren Buffett is the ultimate I quadrant example. He owns stocks in great businesses. Those businesses generate profits. He receives dividends. The stock value's appreciated. He's worth over $100 billion, and he's not working in the traditional sense. His money is working. This year, the I quadrant is more accessible than ever. You can start investing with $100 through apps like Robinhood or Fidelity. You can buy fractional shares of expensive stocks. You can invest in real estate through crowdfunding platforms without buying entire properties. But here's what most people miss. The I quadrant requires capital. You can't invest what you don't have. So most people need to generate income in the E, S, or B quadrants first, then move money into the I quadrant. The wealthy cycle money through quadrants strategically. They might start in E to build skills and save capital, move to S or B to build higher income and more capital, then move that capital into I to generate passive income. Eventually, the I quadrant income exceeds their expenses, and they're financially free. The left side versus the right side, the fundamental difference. Kiyosaki's key insight is that the left side, E and S, and the right side, B and I, require completely different mindsets and skills. Left side thinking is about security. Get a good job, work hard, earn a paycheck, avoid risk, do what you're told. Trade time for money. Right side thinking is about freedom. Build assets, take calculated risks, use leverage, create systems, make money work for you. The left side is linear. You work 1 hour, you get paid for 1 hour. You want twice the income, you work twice the hours. There's a ceiling. The right side is exponential. You build a system once, it generates income repeatedly. You invest capital once, it compounds indefinitely. There's no ceiling. The left side is high effort, capped reward. The right side is high initial effort, unlimited long-term reward. Most people are stuck on the left side because that's what they're taught. Go to school, get good grades, get a safe job. Your parents lived this way. Your teachers taught this way. Society rewards this path with stability and respectability. But the world has changed. The left side isn't safe anymore. Jobs aren't secure. Pensions don't exist. Companies don't care about loyalty. And AI is eliminating millions of left-side jobs. Meanwhile, the right side has never been more accessible. You can start a business with almost no capital. You can invest with $100. The tools exist, the opportunities exist, but most people don't make the shift because they're afraid. Why people stay trapped on the left side? Fear. The left side feels safer. A paycheck is predictable. Starting a business is risky. Investing feels complicated and scary. Most people choose the illusion of safety over the opportunity for freedom. Education. School trains you to be an employee. Get good grades, follow rules, do what you're told. There's no class on building businesses or investing. You're trained for the E quadrant. Taxes. This is huge. Kiyosaki points out that employees pay the highest taxes. Your income is taxed before you see it. You can't deduct much. Meanwhile, business owners and investors have massive tax advantages. They can deduct expenses. They can defer taxes. They can use legal structures to minimize what they pay. An employee making $100,000 might pay $35,000 in taxes. A business owner making $100,000 through their business might pay $15,000 after deductions and strategies. Same income, half the tax. That difference compounds over decades. Mindset. Left side people think like employees. They want security, benefits, and predictability. People on the right think like owners. They want freedom, control, upside. Shifting my mindset is the hardest part. How to move from left side to right side. Kiyosaki doesn't say quit your job tomorrow and start a business. That's reckless. He says use the left side to build skills and capital, then strategically move to the right side. Step 1. Build financial literacy. Learn how money works. Learn about taxes, investing, business, cash flow. Read books, take courses, study wealthy people. Most people spend more time choosing a Netflix show than learning about money. That's why they stay broke. Step 2. Start small in the B or I quadrant while keeping your E or S income. Start a side business. Start investing a small amount every month. Build experience and capital without risking everything. Step 3. Focus on building assets, not increasing income. An employee who gets a raise just spends more. A right-side thinker who gets extra income invests it in assets that generate more income. Step 4. Develop the skills of the right side. Employees need to be good at their job. Business owners need to know sales, marketing, finance, hiring, systems. Investors need to understand risk, valuation, markets, and strategy. Different quadrants require different skills. Step 5. Take calculated risks. Moving to the right side requires some risk, but it's calculated. You're not gambling. You're building skills, testing ideas, learning from failures. Over time, the risk decreases as you get better. Real examples of quadrant movement. Let's make this concrete with actual paths people are taking in this year. Example 1. Software engineer in E quadrant making $120,000. They start building AI tools on the side. They create a productivity app and launch it as SaaS. It grows to 5,000 monthly users paying $10 a month. That's 50,000 monthly, 600,000 yearly. Now they're in the B quadrant. They quit their job, hire a small team, scale to 20,000 users. The business generates 200,000 yearly profit. They invest profits into dividend stocks and rental properties. Now income is coming from B and I quadrants, financially free. Example 2. Teacher in E quadrant making $50,000. Realizes the ceiling is low. starts creating educational content on YouTube on the side, builds to 100,000 subscribers, monetizes through ads, sponsorships, and digital courses. Income hits 10,000 monthly, quit teaching, hires editors and writers, builds the channel into a business generating 20,000 monthly, invests surplus into index funds and real estate crowdfunding, B and I quadrants. Example 3. Accountant in S quadrant making 80,000 as freelancer, working 60 hours a week, realizes they can't scale, hires other accountants, builds systems for client acquisition and service delivery. Business grows to 10 employees serving 200 clients. Revenue hits $1 million yearly. They're working on strategy, not doing tax returns. That's the B quadrant. Sells the business for $3 million, invests the proceeds, living off investment income. That's I quadrant. Example 4. Corporate employees making 70,000, saves aggressively, lives below means, invests 20,000 yearly into dividend stocks and index funds. After 10 years, the investment portfolio hits 300,000, generating 12,000 yearly in dividends. After 20 years, the portfolio hits $1 million, generating 40,000 yearly. Combined with Social Security and part-time work, they're financially independent, moved from E to I. Do you see the pattern? None of these people won the lottery. They understood the quadrants. They made strategic moves. They built skills. They took calculated risks. And over time, they moved from left side to right side.
The tax advantage of the right side. This deserves its own section because it's massive and most people ignore it. Employees pay the highest taxes, period. Your paycheck gets hit with federal tax, state tax, Social Security, Medicare. You might pay 35 to 40% total. And you can't deduct much. Standard deduction, maybe retirement contributions, that's it. Self-employed people pay even more in some ways because they pay both sides of Social Security and Medicare. 15% just for that, plus income tax. They can deduct business expenses, but many don't optimize this. Business owners in the B quadrant have massive advantages. They can deduct business expenses before calculating taxable income. Office space, equipment, travel, meals, education, software, contractors. A business owner might have $150,000 in revenue, but only pay taxes on $60,000 after legitimate deductions. Their effective tax rate is far lower. Investors have even better treatment. Long-term capital gains are taxed at 15 to 20%, far lower than income tax rates. Qualified dividends are taxed at the same favorable rates. Real estate investors can use depreciation to offset rental income, meaning they're making cash flow but paying little or no tax. They can use 1031 exchanges to defer taxes indefinitely when selling properties. Kiyosaki estimates that over a lifetime, someone in the E quadrant might pay 40% of their income in taxes. Someone optimizing the B and I quadrants might pay 15 to 20%. On $1 million of lifetime earnings, that's a $400,000 difference just from understanding tax strategy. This isn't cheating. This is the government incentivizing behavior. They want people to build businesses and create jobs. They want people to invest in real estate and provide housing, so they reward those activities with lower taxes. If you're not using these advantages, you're voluntarily paying more than you need to. The mindset shift required. Moving from the left side to the right side isn't just tactical, it's psychological. You have to fundamentally change how you think about money, work, risk, and success. Left side mindset: how do I get a better job with higher pay and good benefits? Right side mindset: how do I build assets that generate income whether I work or not? Left side mindset: I need security and stability. Right side mindset: I need freedom and control. Left side mindset: avoid risk. Right side mindset: manage risk intelligently. Left side mindset, work hard for money. Right side mindset, make money work hard for me. This shift is uncomfortable. You're rejecting everything you were taught. Your parents might not understand. Your friends might think you're crazy. Society tells you the safe path is a good job. But look around. Are people with good jobs financially secure? Are they happy? Are they free? Most aren't. They're stressed, overworked, one emergency away from financial disaster. Meanwhile, people on the right side have options. They can take time off. They can pursue passion projects. They can say no to things that don't align with their values because their income isn't dependent on showing up to a job.
The reality. Why this matters more than ever. This year, the Cashflow Quadrant framework is more relevant than it's ever been. Here's why. AI and automation are decimating the E quadrant. Jobs that felt safe 10 years ago are disappearing. Customer service, data entry, basic analysis, routine writing, graphic design for commodity work. AI does it better and cheaper. The gig economy has flooded the S quadrant. Millions of people freelancing, driving for Uber, doing TaskRabbit gigs. Competition is brutal. Rates are dropping. It's a race to the bottom. Meanwhile, the B quadrant has never been more accessible. You can build a business with a laptop and AI tools. You don't need a factory or employees. You can automate customer service, marketing, operations. Small teams can do what used to require hundreds of people. The I quadrant has never been more accessible either. You can invest with $100. You can buy fractional shares. You can access alternative investments through apps. The barriers are gone. But most people are still mentally trapped on the left side. They're trying to optimize for a better job or more freelance gigs when they should be building businesses and investments. The wealth gap is widening. People on the right side are compounding wealth faster than ever. People stuck on the left side are falling behind as wages stagnate and costs rise. Your action plan: how to start moving right. If you're in the E quadrant right now, here's your path. 1. Keep your job. Don't quit recklessly. Use it as your foundation. 2. Build financial literacy. Read Cashflow Quadrant. Read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Read about investing, business, taxes. Spend an hour a day learning about money. 3. Start investing immediately, even if it's $50 a month. Build the habit. Learn how investing works. Over time, increase the amount. The goal is to build an I quadrant income stream. 4. Start a side business in B quadrant, something you can build in the evenings and weekends, an online business, a service business, a product. Start small, learn, grow it. 5. Track your progress. How much income is coming from E? How much from I? How much from B? The goal is to gradually shift the percentage. Over years, the right side should match, then exceed the left side. 6. Don't inflate your lifestyle. When you get raises or side income, resist the urge to spend it. Invest it. Build assets. Every dollar invested is a dollar working for you forever. 7. Be patient. This takes years, not months, but the compounding is real. The first 100,000 is the hardest, then it accelerates. If you're in the S quadrant, your path is similar, but with an added challenge. You need to convert your self-employment into a real business, hire people, build systems, stop being the bottleneck, turn the job you created into an asset you own. The end goal: financial freedom. Kiyosaki defines financial freedom as the point where your passive income from the I quadrant exceeds your living expenses. At that point, work becomes optional. You can still work, but you don't have to. That's freedom. For most people, this means building I quadrant income to $40,000 to $60,000 a year. If your expenses are $40,000 and you're generating $50,000 from dividends and rental income, you're free. Getting there requires moving through quadrants strategically. You start in E. You save and invest to build I. You start a business to accelerate B and I. Over 10 to 20 years, the compounding takes over, and you reach the point where your money works harder than you ever could. That's not retirement. That's freedom to choose. You can work on passion projects. You can spend time with family. You can take risks without worrying about income. You can say no to anything that doesn't align with your values. And here's the beautiful part. Once you understand the quadrants, you see opportunities everywhere. You see businesses that could be built. You see investments that could compound. You see ways to move right. And you stop thinking like an employee waiting for permission and start thinking like an owner building a life. Most people will spend 40 years in the E or S quadrant, trading time for money, stressed about bills, hoping nothing goes wrong. Then they'll retire with barely enough to survive. You don't have to be like most people. You can understand the quadrants. You can make strategic moves. You can build assets. You can shift from left to right. And over time, you can build the kind of financial freedom that most people think is reserved for the lucky or the privileged. It's not luck. It's not a privilege. It's understanding how money works and having the courage to operate differently than everyone around you. The cash flow quadrant is the map. The left side is the trap. The right side is freedom. You're somewhere on this map right now. The only question is whether you're moving right or staying stuck. Start today. Learn about money. Start investing. Start building. Move right, one decision at a time, $1 at a time, one asset at a time. Because financial freedom isn't a fantasy, it's a system, and the system is available to anyone willing to learn it and apply it.
Thank you for listening to this book summary. Let's study another amazing book. Till that, goodbye.